Welcome to the Corner Perspective. Hi, I'm Bruce Spangler, CEO of the Volunteer Ministry Center. Located on the corner of Fifth Avenue and Broadway, the Volunteer Ministry Center is committed to ending and preventing homelessness in the Knoxville area. Today I'm joined by Reverend Peter Keese. Peter, glad that you can join with me today.
Thank you.
Peter, I know that you've been a longtime supporter as well as volunteer here at the Volunteer Ministry Center. Also, you're an Episcopal priest, a supervisor in the Clinical Pastoral Education Program, and author. How honored I am to have you with me today.
Well, it's an honor to be here. Thanks.
Well, I know that you have been with Volunteer Ministry Center for a number of years, and I can imagine you've had the opportunity to meet some fantastic and wonderful people and some people with fascinating stories.
Almost everybody, you know this, has a fascinating story.
True.
I wouldn't say almost. I'd say everybody does. Some people are more willing to tell their stories than others. But I have a story of my work as a volunteer in the refuge. That's one of my favorite stories. It happened a good long time ago. A young woman, pregnant, came up to the desk and I think she wanted some clothes. I forget what her request was. It was a busy morning, and I said, "We'll help you, but it'll take a while. You'll have to wait." And it was a crowd in the lobby that morning, and there were some 2 or 3 people who were obviously friends, and they were talking together and laughing and having a good time. The young woman came back up to the desk and said, "Can I see you before lunch?" I said, "I don't know. You may have to go off to lunch." She said, "Well, I'm pregnant, and I can't go back down to Carm and come back." So one of our volunteers said, "Well, I'll see her before lunch." The 3 friends who had been talking, one of them had seen somebody, and as they were leaving, one of them gave me a pack of crackers and said, "Give it to that young lady so she'll have something to eat," which I thought was really nice. He came back in a few minutes, and he said, "Tell that young lady when she comes out that we have some lunch for her." And she did finish her interview before lunch, and she went out, and on our front stoop, they were having a picnic lunch, and they had a picnic lunch for her.
Wow.
And the community that people develop in all kinds of circumstances just is very striking to me, and that was an event of real community with people taking care of one another.
Sure. We're approaching the 30th anniversary of the Volunteer Ministry Center, and today I had the privilege of speaking with Keith Richardson, the first director.
Yeah.
And I was asking about some of those earlier days, but he tells that same kind of story, Peter, in terms of the beginning of VMC, that it was about being present with folks and developing a sense of community. He talked about the haves and the have-nots coming together, but more importantly, he talked about that there's really not any difference between us.
Wonderful. Because I was about to argue with you. I was going to say, we might think initially, well, I'm a have and that's a have-not.
Exactly.
What's amazing is to discover how much they have not different from us.
Absolutely. And that was his point that he went on to make, is that being a volunteer at the Volunteer Ministry Center is an opportunity to realize that we're all the same.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of it. That's what draws me
it really
back
is.
Again and again.
And also it builds community, as you mentioned, on the front stoop, but also it communicates a larger community. If I can help flesh that out, I'm not sure how to do that.
Well, I'm not sure either, except that one of the community aspects for us is the group of volunteers on the Thursdays that I work. We've been together for a good long time, and we have quite a community amongst ourselves, and have come to know one another pretty closely, and appreciate one another. So we have that community, and we get enriched by the stories that people tell us.
Yes. Yeah. Well, life is lived a story.
only a story.
Only a story.
Yeah.
It's only a story. Well, Peter, you helped make up one of the chapters in the story of the Volunteer Ministry Center. So thank you for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
And I can't wait to maybe look for another picnic.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
We'll do that.
All right.
Thank you for joining me with me in this episode of The Corner Perspective.